Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019. Hope you are all enjoying your Tuesday, wherever it is you are in the country. It's a little chilly here in New Jersey, here in the Northeast. Not sure how it is all around the country, but a little chilly. But spring-like weather coming up this week here in the Northeast, so it's about time the winter is gone. I know last year we did have an April snowstorm. It was about 6 inches, but hopefully we can steer clear of that this year in April. But it's weird. April is such a weird month. It could be 80 degrees and it could be 20, so you never know, even though the forecast does look very good for the next couple of weeks. At any rate, as we do every Tuesday, I'm here with you to discuss the news of the week for the April 3rd, 2019 edition of The Observer. And as you can see in the upper corner of your screen, we have 3 front page stories this week, including Cheering Champs. And that is a story about the KGC cheerleaders from Kearny who were down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and won a national championship when they were down in South Carolina. And now there's one more step to win the overall U.S. championship. They're one of 3 teams that were invited down, and I'm not 100% sure where this next meeting is, where this next group is, but indeed they are doing Kearny proud. There's a bunch of girls and guys that are on this team. It's a recreational-based cheerleading team, so they don't really cheer for any teams, from what I understand. Maybe they do. I don't, not 100% sure about that, but they do a great job. The young women who put this team together work very, very hard. There's a lot of parents who are involved, so congratulations to them, bringing the name Kearny all the way down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on doing a fantastic, fantastic performance there in Myrtle Beach. So well done, KGC cheerleaders. Lisa Fiorenzo, our owner, is not with us here today in the office, but she just checked in. Nice microphone. I found it. I've had it for a long time, but I forgot that I had it, and it's much better audio too, I hope. So hope you feel better, Lisa. We all hoping for that you get better soon. Now, the top rights story in this week's edition of The Observer: the Lyndhurst Municipal Alliance is hosting what they're calling an open house, and that takes place on Friday. This is the first time that they're doing this, and when they do it, it's being open for people who have mental illness, and it's also for people who are related to people who have mental illness and addiction, whether it's to drugs or to alcohol or whatever it is. And I had a chance to speak with one of the members of the Alliance, Vinny Ortieri, who is also the public information officer of the Lyndhurst Police Department. He's doing a fantastic job. They all are doing an absolutely fantastic job with the Alliance. And, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's just as important as any other municipal alliance. But the one thing that separates the Lyndhurst Municipal Alliance from other alliances is that they are a stigma-free town, and they make that very, very well known during the course of any of the activities that they do during the course of the year. And when I was speaking with Vinny Ortieri, one of the things that he had mentioned to me too was that a lot of times people feel like they can't go to these events because they're afraid, number one, that people are going to see them, or people are going to think differently about them when they attend these types of events. And the most important thing to be known about this open house that they are indeed putting on the 5th is that there is absolutely, there should be no stigma attached to attending. If you are a person who is an addict, if you are related to somebody who is an addict, you should go. You should not fear anything about going to this event, because no one there is there to judge. Everybody on the Municipal Alliance, and I'm sure this can be said of all of the municipal alliances in the different towns that we cover, they are all there for one reason and for one reason only, and that is to help. They are not there for any other reason. They are not there to judge. They are not there to gossip. The police are not there to arrest people They are not looking for people. They are not trying to find somebody who may show up high and be able to score an arrest. It is simply to help people who need the help. So if you know somebody who is addicted to drugs, to alcohol, gambling, whatever it is, or if you know somebody who is suffering from mental illness and they just don't know where to turn and they need help, go to this event. Go to this event. It's Friday night, and it's in the conference room of the Lyndhurst Fire Department on the second floor of fire headquarters on Delafield Avenue. You can see all the details in the story when you read it in this week's edition of The Observer. But great job by the Lyndhurst Municipal Alliance, and I want to thank Vinny Ortieri, Sergeant Ortieri of the Lyndhurst Police Department, for bringing this story to me last week. It's a very, very great program which they have going on. Carmen De Jesus is with us this morning. Good morning, Carmen. Good afternoon. It's already after 12, if you can believe it, 7 minutes after 12. Hope you're having a good day, Carmen. Thank you for always coming by, as you do every week here when we go live on Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. So I appreciate that. Now, the final story on the front page of this week's edition of The Observer is about a potential lawsuit that the town of Kearny is going to file under what's called the Environmental Rights Act. Now, from what I understand, this lawsuit is being made difficult by the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority. I don't know exactly how it is that they are making this difficult, but that's what I was told. And regardless of that fact, regardless of the fact that they make everything difficult, which is not surprising, I guess, to anybody, is that the town of Kearny plans to go ahead with the lawsuit, regardless of any challenges that they face from the NJSEA. And it's an important thing to do because, as we have said ad infinitum, I don't know if we could say it any more times and make it any more clear. What's going on at that landfill right now is very dangerous. What's going on there is very unfortunate, and it is a shame that they are not willing, and still aren't, to at least shut down the landfill temporarily. It's unfathomable that this stuff is going on. And I'm sorry you see me laughing here. I just got a great text message from somebody, so I just wanted to get that out of the way as well. So the truth of the matter is they're going to go forward with this lawsuit, and when they do, we'll see exactly what happens there. Now, just a couple of things that I want to tell you about in relation to this particular lawsuit and with the story. We found out about this secondhand, and it's a little bit unfortunate that we found out about it as late as we did, when we did, because we probably could have been on this sooner. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. This information that we got from the mayor was all posted to a video on Facebook. And in the video, every news agency that has been covering this story, including the Jersey Journal, the Star Ledger, NJ.com, the New York Times, et cetera, they were tagged in the story, and we weren't. And when I asked the mayor about it, he said that he didn't tag us in the story because we had already been covering the story. So, folks, you need to know that, because we almost didn't have this story for you, and it was very important that we get this information out to you. And I don't know why that was the answer that we got, because those other news agencies have covered this story just as many times as we have. But we were very, very close to not having this story, and I thought it was very important that each and every one of you were aware of that in the process. So we'll move on from this, and we're going to go into the inside of this week's edition of The Observer, and onto page number 2. Our friend Joanne Barton wrote a story. She covers concerts. She's a big-time musician. And she went to a concert from a band called RPM. They are, I think, Nutley-based, and they play a lot at places in the area, and they were at the 503 bar in Lyndhurst a couple of weeks ago, and she did a review of this band. They're a true Jersey band, so when you get a chance, check out that story. Joanne always does a great job with her reviews, and that's on page number 2 in this week's edition of the paper. Now, as we move on, this one is a little bit more on the important side. If you are a driver and you are a texter, you're putting yourself at risk, you know that. And the state of New Jersey is one of 4 states that from April 1st to April 21st, thanks to federal grants, will be putting on something called You Pay, You Drive, You Text, You Pay, You Drive, You Pay. And there's going to be a heightened enforcement of people who are texting and driving. And from what I understand, too, they could also look for people who are combing their hair, people who are watching videos while they're driving, even talking, and all sorts of crazy things that people do when they're behind the wheel and they have their phones in their hands or different kinds of electronics. And the enforcement will take place between April 1st and April 21st of this month. So be careful when you're out there. You're always taking a risk when you do it. But when you're out there, especially now and through the 21st of this month, there's going to be heightened enforcement. We know for sure that Kearny, Lyndhurst, and Nutley are taking part in the program. I'm not sure about the other towns, but those are the towns that informed us that they would be taking part in the program. So we get a press release every year from the national organization, then we reach out to the police departments to see if they're participating, and those are the ones that responded affirmatively that they will be taking part in the program. Moving on to page number 4, the weekly police blotter from my friend Karen Zordik. Beggars can be losers under the law. Check it out. It's a very interesting blotter this week. I guess somebody was begging outside the Wawa in Kearny over by the Walmart, and there was drugs inside the car, and they were begging for money for drugs. So I guess some of these criminals are getting more and more honest as we move along. So check that out when you get a chance. The editorial this week is very interesting in that it first appeared on the pages of this newspaper in 1992. And the headline, as it was in 1992, is the same that it is today in today's paper: Stop Dumping on Kearny. Tim Wagner, who is the public information officer of the Kearny Police Department, had noted to me a couple of weeks ago that he had found some stories that he was involved with back in 1992 when Kearny was dealing with the Meadowlands Development Corporation. And what was interesting was that Tom Fraser, who many of you know from Lincoln School as the guidance counselor and also from the PBGC, brought Tim to a meeting. And some of the very same issues that we're talking about with this landfill today were exactly what they were talking about back in 1992. And I want you to take a look at that. We have the editorial, and we also have a story, which I'm going to get to, which is also a reprint from 1992, just how similar the stories are. It's a dump. The state wants to dump on Kearny. The people of Kearny don't want it, and nobody seems to listen. So check out that editorial when you get a chance, and also the story, which I'm going to get to in a couple of minutes when I flip the pages. This is an ad from Hudson County Improvement Authority. They have each year these shredding days, and there will be one in Harrison at the Red Bull Arena on Saturday, May the 11th. And also Saturday, April 13th, coming up pretty soon at West Hudson Park in Kearny. It's free. If you have any things that you need to get shredded, you can go to one of those 2 places. There's a couple others as well throughout Hudson County, but of course those are the 2 that are the closest. Now, don't forget the annual West Hudson, the KUEZ annual yard sale is coming up on May the 4th and 5th, and the registrations are being taken now, and the deadline is the 24th of this month. So if you have anything you want to sell, make sure you get that form filled out. It's in the paper as well, but this is just a reminder that the yard sale registration is underway, and you have until the 24th to get that in. This is just a jump page from something else, but you also notice that the Women's Club in North Arlington has a couple of events planned, so just check those 2 things out as well. And I'm just trying to change the page here, but it's not working. Here it is. Okay, this too is a jump page. And now we're into sports. This is Jim Hague Sports. Blue Tide looked to regroup after losing key players to graduation. The Harrison baseball team and Belleville looks to vastly improve on last year's lost season. So you can check those two stories out from my colleague Jim Hague, who is the absolute best at what he does in sports. Now, also in sports this week is a story that I wrote, and it's about the annual Project Graduation volleyball tournament, which takes place this Friday at Kearny High School. It is the biggest, or one of the two biggest fundraisers that the Project Graduation Committee puts on each year in order to fund what happens on Project Graduation, which takes place after the graduation ceremony in June. And Melanie Ryan spoke with me. I had a chance to chat with her for about an hour about all the things that go on at this volleyball tournament and all the great things that the Project Graduation Committee does. They make this night one that is safe, one that is alcohol and drug-free for all of the new alums of Kearny High School. It's been going on, the tournament itself, I believe this is the 10th annual, and I believe this will be the 17th year for Project Graduation, which is kind of remarkable. Project Graduation, of course, was started after there were a series of vehicular homicides on graduation night with kids going out after graduation, getting drunk, and unfortunately losing their lives on the night or the day after graduation. So this is a fantastic program that's been a staple here for nearly 2 decades. And the volleyball tournament, which is Friday at the high school gym, takes place from 7 o'clock on. It's only $5 for adults and $3 for students and senior citizens to get in. They have snacks and things set up. There's raffles, and you'll get a chance to see some people who maybe you know playing in the games, because there's teams from the fire department, the police department, and DPW, and all the different schools and all that. So if you have nothing to do, or even if you have something to do, you should still stop by. It's a great fundraiser and for a great cause. Project Graduation volleyball tournament this Friday night. The doors open at 6:30, and the first game takes place at 7 o'clock. And from what I understand, it's round robin, so you don't know who's going to be playing who until you get there. So take a look at that, and maybe you can stop by. And if you can't, you could always make a donation to the committee. One other thing, too, there's two 50-50s that go on during the course of that night. One is for that day. The other is their Super 50-50. And that Super 50-50, I think, netted the first place winner $9,500 last year. So if you're looking to make a quick buck, stop by. The Stinky Cheese Man, the full week, the last 2 days of Watt's performances are this weekend, Friday and Saturday. There's a cheese tasting at the performance on Saturday, and I've heard great reviews about the show already. Last weekend was the opening, and this weekend everything closes. So again, if you're looking for something to do, just an $8 admission fee to get into the Watt show this weekend, Friday night, Saturday afternoon. Check that out as well. This is our classified section that continues to grow. There are plenty of apartments for rent, whether in Kearny, Harrison, East Newark, Nutley, a few other towns. There are also services offered as well on this page, and as we get to the next page, they built this feature in with our broadcaster that allows us to drive PDFs onto the screen, and it's great. But the only thing that doesn't work well is the page turner. So if you've noticed that it's been taking me a little bit while to get the pages turned, I apologize for that. So that's that indeed. All right. On the second page of classified, of course, there's employment ads and other services that are offered, and the employment ads continue all the way on to page number 24. There's quite a few available this week if you're looking for work, so hope you'll check that out as well. And this is the next to last week for tax time. April 15th is coming up already, if you can imagine that. So if you need to get your taxes done before the deadline, we have a couple of people who are advertising still in the tax time section, including Bernadette Antonelli, Arlington Tax, Nick Coco, and Vista Services, which is located in Lyndhurst. Fernando and Sandra do a great job there as well. And here we are on the back page, Kosher Realty. And this is one of John Kwapniewski's agents, Silvana Abrantes, and you can see her phone number is there. So if you need to sell a house or you're looking to buy a house, give them a call when you can. Now, I just got a few other things to tie up. The Women's Club of Arlington, that's of course in Kearny, they're having their annual Authors Tea on April 7th, which is this Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Henrietta Benstead Center at 60 Columbia Avenue. That is going to feature Ed Lucas, who is a sports columnist and who has written for many, many years and who is visually impaired. And he always writes wonderful columns, and I'm sure this is going to be a very, very entertaining program when you get a chance to see it. So if that is something, please go. Jim Miller's in the chat room, and he says, "Come see my cousin Ed." I did not know that Ed Lucas was your cousin, Jimmy. So awesome stuff. If you get a chance, do go by. It's $35. You can send a check to Pat Sherwin, but I tend to think that with it being just a couple of days a week, that may be difficult. But her mailing address is 210 Argyle Place. Patricia Sherwin, that's SHERWEN, 210 Argyle Place in Kearny. But I'm just not sure if you'll be able to get it there in time. But a great event. They do this every year, and each year, from what I understand, it grows and grows and grows. So that's a fantastic program. Now, one final thing that I did not get a chance to mention earlier because I got distracted a little bit while I was talking. This whole thing with the Keegan Landfill continues to be very, very bothersome. There are a lot of people who are getting sick. There are a lot of people who are still complaining about the scents and the odors that continue to permeate the town, and it's a very, very unfortunate thing. But there are two things that I want you to know. One is that I'm working on a story because last week somebody posted a photo of a letter that an attorney down in Philadelphia and South Jersey sent out to the residents about a class action lawsuit. That lawsuit is simply for people who are being affected by the odors themselves and not anybody who may be affected for health reasons. So I'm going to be looking in the next couple of days, looking into how if it is at all possible that people who have health issues can get involved with a class action suit. And one of the reasons that this is a little bit of a challenge is that we have spoken, Lisa has spoken to a class action lawyer. One of the reasons that it seems to be a challenge is that the state agencies have immunity from lawsuits. And it begs the question, what does somebody do if their health is affected negatively by this hydrogen sulfide, which we know is an absolute irritant, and the more that there is, the more difficult the situation becomes. So we're going to be looking into what does a person do? What do you do if you know you're sick, you believe it's come from, or you have the symptoms of being exposed to hydrogen sulfide? What do you do? If you can't sue the NJSEA, if you can't sue the state of New Jersey, is there any recourse? So be looking into that, and you'll be able to find that in next week's edition of The Observer. And one final story that I just wanted to let you know, and that is that throughout the whole situation with the Keegan Landfill, the mayor of Kearny has said numerous times that when the governor was around, whether it's for a fundraiser or for an event or anything of that nature, that he was going to try to get his ear. The governor was in Union City a week ago yesterday. Nobody from Kearny went. Nobody. This would have been a perfect opportunity to get the governor's ear, and that did not happen. I was told the reason why is because they believed that the governor wouldn't call on Mayor Santos if he were to have gone to this event. But we'll never know because he didn't try. And I think it's very important that people out there are 100% aware that this golden opportunity was missed. The governor was just 6 miles away, and they did not go. It's very, very disappointing. That's it for this week's edition of the Observer Live. It's 25 minutes past the hour. To everybody who has been here with us today, I want to thank you for spending some time. Let's see, Anali Carrasco is here, Jim Miller, Tammy Rigo, who is here almost all the time, Edward Varga, Loretta Cummings. I'm sorry I didn't see you were here before. Kathy Bell, Carmen, and of course Lisa. And to all of you out there, hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And I'll be back as news breaks during the course of the week, or if anything happens, maybe today, maybe later, you don't know. So from the newsroom of The Observer and theobserver.com, Kevin Canessa signing off for now. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.